It's me, Pup. How are you doing? I, for one, feel like I'm just chewing down on the popcorn at this point. There's kind of a sick, voyeuristic curiosity that comes when someone in kind of your space, the film critique space, ends up in the crosshairs of commentary YouTube. And then we get video upon video of Alex Myers, also known as Alex Myers, was born in New Jersey. Now, I haven't really watched Alex Myers' content. I'm not really a big fan. He doesn't really have a lot of subscribers. And it's just kind of funny seeing those videos be about someone you've actually watched. Many of us have indulged in the freak shows that are the commentary videos about Boogie 2988 or Just a Robot. But I don't really know anyone who actually, watched those channels prior to the dramas. With this, it's like, oh, it's that little Pillsbury Doughboy that's overwhelmed by everything. It was just, you put it in the playlist, you go to bed, yeah, nothing too deep. Which is why it is a surprise to me that he made a video on the movie Obsession, given the commentary that has on kind of consent. I don't know, it would just be like if Nostalgia Critic made a video on Bowling for Columbine. I don't want to just box people in or anything, because I know that is my own worst enemy. But I don't feel like, as a creator, Alex Myers had done anything to really earn the versatility to kind of do a video on a film with that kind of commentary. Alex Myers doesn't really engage with films or their themes so much as he effectively builds an animated stand-up comedy routine around a movie as its subject matter, which is what makes his videos fine for the sleep time playlist. They're not thought-provoking videos, however, he's making a video here on a film that is inherently thought-provoking, and if you haven't been provoked to think after it, you've completely missed the point. The result is not just a failure of critique, though, so much as it is talking points I'd expect from a confused 13-year-old coming from a grown adult. But that is really as harsh as I want to be. I don't want to just put this guy out on display and mock the fella at is probably one of the low points in his life. A time when he's probably afraid of what's going to happen next, will he get his career back after this? It's just, I've observed and participated in plenty of agony aunt-style support Facebook groups, where I've seen plenty of my fellow men have gained a very distorted perspective on this kind of stuff. So, trusting in myself as a safe dude, I would like to rally my brothers around, of course all genders are always welcome, and discuss with you today why the headspace that led to a video like this is not going to serve any of us. Because it just kind of pains me to see film discussion turned into this, to get this kind of ugly. But it is important to acknowledge why stuff like this happens, and to recognize why it's a problem and why we need to solve it, and approach how we're going to solve it. Okay, let's find out what we're working with here, I guess.
Warning, this video is an attempt at a good faith, nuanced look at the fictional movie Obsession and the characters therein, which will probably upset some of you for some reason.
Oh, jeez. Okay, this is okay, but, I don't think it's an adequate warning of what the subject matter here is going to be. And then that second sentence kind of undercuts it as well. It was an attempt at a...
I don't think I've seen the internet freak out about a movie like they have with Obsession. At least not in a long time. Maybe K-pop Demon Hunters was the last time where, everywhere you looked, everyone had an opinion about it. I guess you could say everyone's kind of obsessed.
Oh, okay, right. But the reason why there's conversation about this movie pertains to a real-world issue. It's not wise to be flippant when it comes to these things. So already, yeah. Oh, jeez.
I think about you all the time, Nikki. And I try not to. You're in every song I listen to. Marching along as the song fills the...
Okay, we're treating this like skit comedy here. This is... Again, not the kind of movie to do this with. I do like how the background is illustrated, though. And I see that he's feeling the emotion that comes with the scene. But, does he understand what the ramifications are?
So this is our main character, Bear. Bear is 25, according to the screenplay, and he's never outgrown his awkward high school loser persona, which means he's gonna have a great career one day as an online content creator. Hi there, welcome to...
I mean, yeah, a lot of us YouTubers are single. Maybe it's the childish interests, maybe it's being under a magnifying glass all the time, maybe it's being under scrutiny all the time, but just, yeah, YouTube is not a great career if you want to have a partner, that's for sure, and it certainly does attract the kind of crowd that would struggle with that kind of thing. So now I feel insecure.
Twitch, are you mentally stuck at 15? Perfect, we're gonna put you on the front page.
So this is really... Okay, so the thing is here, we're making jokes around the movie, but there's not really anything that's analyzing the movie, which, yeah, that's Alex Myers' style, you know? It's, he's more one of those content creators I watch to feel better about myself. Even so, like, there's a time and a place for that. I would argue that just fundamentally, this is not the time, nor is it the place, given the subject matter of the film.
I don't know, man. You got that strawberry milkshake sitting right there, so something tells me you're the kind of guy who's internalized a few too many rom-coms written by equally pathetic losers as yourself. I mean, trust me, ain't my first rodeo.
Again, there's no demonstration that he's actually understood the movie. So there's just no value to the video as is. So immediately that's an issue. It's jokes surrounding the movie, but they don't really even have much of a relationship with the movie. There's no sense that he's understood anything that's going on. There are lots of YouTubers who are entertainers first and critics second, but this doesn't really do... It's just all trying to be entertainment, you know, but there's no engagement with the text here.
You ever actually, like, flirted with Nikki? Be playfully mean with her. Be mean to her. Playfully mean, yeah, but bring up freaky Nikki. And that will, like, take her breath away? Just say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Okay, so
I'm gonna say this straight up, 25 is too old to be talking about it this way. Okay, so, I didn't really elaborate on that point much at the time, but the reason I said that is because while those behaviors might seem kind of harmless in the moment, they are a pipeline. These are thought patterns that people do need to unlearn by their adult years. This immediately sets up the character of Bear as stunted and not someone you really want to relate to. But it feels to me like Alex Myers is projecting a lot of himself and his own experiences onto Bear. Hence why he takes quite a defensive stance towards Bear later in the video. Bear is not someone you want to announce to the world that you relate to, okay? You couldn't waterboard that kind of shit out of me, even if I did feel that way.
really weird to come out of nowhere and be like, "Dearest fair maiden, I know we've only exchanged mere pleasantries these past few years, but I must inform you that I wish to begin a courtship."
I mean, that's better than wishing on a wish willow, right?
He has no idea how to ask out Nikki. He's walking around with this haircut like my dude can't catch a break. So
It's too shallow, man. It's too shallow. You're not engaging the film. Just as a YouTube video, there's just not enough here to justify all this animation. I suppose he's getting views, though, isn't he? He's also kind of tarnished himself at the same time.
oh, no, crystal necklace. Bear, get out while you still can. But then again, Nikki is a hot Latina, so one can only remain strong for so long. Oh, no, crystal necklace. Bear, get out while you still can. But then again, Nikki is a hot Latina, so one can...
What does that even... What do we mean by that? Like, lots of people have crystal necklaces. Necklie? Is that necklace plural? Necklie? It should be.
only remain strong for so long. Now, because Nikki dropped her necklace, Bear gets this idea to get her...
I think he needs to exaggerate his vocal performance a bit more to match the animations, because it feels like there's a huge disconnect here. Because the animations themselves are very high effort. It's just, you're not servicing them with the quality of the video here.
I love how it says, amaze your friends. Hey guys, check this out. Awesome, do it again!
Now, that's an okay joke, but we're not ready to move on from that point without stating that he's taking action on, like, his own emotions here. He's acting on, like, his infatuation in an unhealthy way here. Are we gonna acknowledge that, or are we just gonna make a joke?
Yeah, well, they've been pretty popular since we put them out, you know.
Guess we're just gonna make the joke then. Make the point, Alex. Come on, brother. Make the point.
No, come back and complain.
Or it does work and it, like, ruins their lives.
Or they die or wish they were dead.
Okay, so clearly he's going to understand the ramifications, right?
Ah, yes, the Millennial Special. Rather experienced myself.
That's... You can make these jokes, but you also have to have the engagement with the issue here. You've just seen a guy who's infatuated with someone who can't seem to express his feelings immediately resort to trying out a wish thing, trying to use the cosmic powers of the universe. We can surely see the issue here.
I like a man who's in touch with his feminine.
Hey, whoa, didn't ask your opinion, Nikki.
What's the matter here? But again, it feels like you could put that anywhere in this review. You could just, all she has to do is say something, and you could just be like, "Didn't ask for your opinion, Nikki." But like, it's why? What's the issue? Analyze it. Just have some analysis with this. I get it's a video for entertainment first and foremost. But if we could just get some analysis paired with this. Oh, jeez, no. No wonder I put these on when I go to sleep.
Here we get a look at who Nikki is. And she seems like she's kind of one of those girls who's like those like ball buster types, you know? She's always like, ha, bitch can't handle all this. I've never met a guy who can keep up with me. And then they just lay there like SpongeBob.
Whoa, 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 what the fuck? Where did that come from? I don't know where to really begin on this point. I'm just confused by it. That's a whole person you just described there. But that's not from the text. That's not from the film, but you just described a whole person like it's a genre. Yo, Future Pup back again. From what I understand, nowhere in the text is it ever implied that Nikki is that person that he just described there. There is so much projection going on here. Whether he's projecting an ex of his or whatever, but at the end of the day, when you're talking like this, you should think yourself lucky if they're just laying there like SpongeBob. They're still letting you hit. Also, you could go totally wild with SpongeBob. All those holes... See, notice how I start with the analysis and then follow up with the joke. The joke wouldn't mean beans without the analysis. This is like the one thing I'm even slightly good at. Please just let me have this. Oh, the context of this. If you take the movie out of the equation, which you probably could probably just have him ramble at nothing and the video would make just as much sense. Like... I mean, it would just be like drunken ramblings. That would actually be more entertaining. It'd be like some kind of drunken critic, but like, yeah, like quite a novel concept, the idea of a drunken critic that's entertaining.
Also, again, somewhat ironic, but earlier Bear was like, you want me to be mean to her? Why would I do that? But then she's literally doing the same thing to him right now.
It's called banter, Alex, dude. Brother, it's called banter. Don't worry about it. Like, there's no way her calling your favorite drink a girly drink would like, get this much thought out of you. That's just banter. Ah, fuck it.
Wait, hold on, back up. So the trivia topic was early film trivia, and the question was, this film has a blue genie that grants wishes.
That is quite... That's actually kind of funny, okay? That's the kind of point that justifies a joke.
But here we get a look into the dynamics of the whole friend group, okay? So Ian is kind of like a douche, right?
Ian was being real with him. I don't understand how he's kind of a douche when he was just being real with him.
One of the guys, you know. And Bear has a huge crush on Nikki, even though Sarah over here is clearly into Bear on some level, and he just, like, doesn't notice, doesn't care.
So is the point of that not to show that Bear did actually have options? It feels to me like the film has already given him two ways out of not having to use a wish willow.
So Bear's choices are Crystal Mommy or Septum Girl, so like, this dude never stood a chance.
What's wrong with septum piercings as well? Do you hate tattoos? Do you want him to be Catholic too? Do they have to be Catholic? Brother, it's a septum piercing. It's a form of bodily expression. There's nothing wrong with piercings and tattoos, brother. Many men actually gravitate greatly towards them. Because again, it's self-expression, it's personality. And Crystal, like... So ladies like Crystals, it's not a big deal, man. Like, it's really not a big deal.
Like, you might as well put that chastity belt in your Amazon cart right now, my dude.
Dude, come on. Come on, the way you're talking, you jump at the chance. Don't be silly, brother.
See you later, Bear.
All right, Bear.
Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
What's the context of that joke, though? You could put that joke anywhere in the video. We are 6 minutes in and we're yet to really engage with the themes of the movie, brother. Come on, don't waste your audience's time like this. You have to respect your audience's time.
I want to write.
Oh, a Crystal Mommy and the writer. Well, something tells me this movie would have gone the same way for Bear, whether he made the wish or not.
It just feels like no matter what she says, she's gonna get ridiculed from you, brother. You can't just give her a little space. She's a fictional character, but it's like, if you're this suffocating towards a fictional character, I think this is the problem people are seeing, is if you're this suffocating towards a fictional character, without any kind of basis within your own review, without it being part of some running gag that eventually paints you to be the bad guy, because I know plenty about taking a fall for a gag, okay? I do it all the time on my podcast because I know how to do it. You have to be ready to take a fall after a gag like that, and are you gonna? Because right now it has just been vapid joke after vapid joke, which could come in at any point. Like, she could basically say, hey, can we pull over? I want a Pepsi, and you'd be like, whoa, Pepsi, you want a Pepsi? Oh, jeez, run for the hills, Bear, run for the hills, you know? Like, it's silly. It's really, really silly. Just let the girl have a Pepsi. Fucking Christ.
You're the only person that I get to really talk to about this stuff.
Ah, yes. Well, see, Bear, when a girl says that, what she really means is, you better not ask me out and ruin this friendship.
No, where are you getting that? Yeah, no, like, there's no occasion where you shouldn't express your feelings, okay? Okay, maybe not at, like, a relative's funeral or something, but, like, if there's someone that you genuinely like, you can confess that. And it's not going to ruin the friendship. The idea that it's going to ruin the friendship's a myth, dude. If you're just willing to be pals anyway, you'll be pals, dude. Makes me wonder why I don't take my own advice more often. It's probably just crippling ADHD.
You see the kind of sweaters he wears. You can only imagine what kind of game he has.
Okay, right, I'm gonna go on the defense for Bear for a second here. Just hear me out. What's wrong with the sweater? Like, there's a lot wrong with this character. What's wrong with the sweater? You haven't pointed out how clearly emotionally stunted the dude is from minute one. You haven't noticed how clearly unstable the dude is from minute one. We haven't mentioned the fact that he hasn't even begun to try to ask her out. In fact, we even endorsed that decision. Yet he's going after a wish willow and seeking help from the supernatural gods to get this woman to fall in love with him. We haven't acknowledged that at the 7-minute mark, and there's been dozens of opportunities to do so, but we're too busy saying, oh, you want to get a Pepsi? Why you want to get a Pepsi for? You know, watch out, you know? Pepsi.
Do you like me?
Okay, we got a gag, and it seems like we might acknowledge that there's a bad decision to be made here.
I think we're good friends.
Okay, so every action he takes from here has any and all sympathy and understanding eliminated. There is no more defense at this point, and he hasn't even used the Wish Willow yet. But we know he's gonna. He had an opportunity to tell her how he felt, and he instead tried to use a Wish Willow. Oh my god, there's a message in this movie. There's a message in this movie. Stop trying to find the roundabout avenues. Stop trying to find the quick and easy ways that maintain your, dignity. When you can see that there'd just be far more fucking dignity in it just saying, right now, hey, I like you, bitch. Okay, take the bitch part out. But, like, you know, there's, you know? I struggle with sincerity, can you tell? What? Okay, so you understand there's an issue here. Okay, right, let's hear you elaborate.
My dude, she's leaving anyway. This is your chance.
One wish willow. May's your friends, you.
No, right, if he's doing this immediately after... Dude, there's really no sympathetic angle for this, dude. Brother, no, you can't. No, okay, well, from here on out, we're surely gonna say, yeah, this guy sucks, right? And we haven't really seen any change in his character to suggest that he was better than this earlier anyway. So, right?
I get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the
Shrekin.
world.
What was the point? What was the point? He had an opportunity. He didn't take it, and he instead called upon the cosmic forces of the universe. We can see the problem here, right? Please tell me that you can see the problem, brother. My brothers, everyone else here, brothers, can you see the problem? I hope our boy Alex here will see the problem with this.
Up until this point, Bear was just a dude with a crush on a girl that he was too scared to talk to, okay? A story of my life. He pulls out this $7 wishing toy. He's like, golly gee, I sure wish Nikki loved me too. But here's where everything changes, okay?
Maybe you want to come inside? I mean, I did just lose my cat, Bear.
You lost your cat?
I think everything changed the second he purchased the Wish Willow for that purpose. I mean, changed even? Like, I mean, yeah, he was an awkward guy. But you gotta understand how this decision works in the context. There is object permanence to the decisions that came before. The fact that he had an opportunity to tell her, she straight up asked him point blank, he didn't tell her, and then he decided to do something that will effectively change her brain. We can see how that context changes everything, right? And the fact that this was immediately after that. But he was still emotionally incredibly stunted, you know?
So as you can see, Nikki's starting to act a little out of character. She's saying things that don't make sense. She also demands to go over to his house to spend...
At this point, the correct thing for Bear to do would be to immediately try and reverse the wish, get another Wish Willow, and unwish it. Wish you could undo that last part, you know? Because if you care about someone, you won't wish for that person to change. This is purely selfish infatuation that he's acting on. He purchased that wish willow in the off chance it would work. There is no plausible deniability here. He wanted it to work. That is a violation of trust, and trust is the single most important pillar to establish before entering any kind of romantic relationship.
And you know, to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space.
That's not a credit thing, that's the baseline. We don't say, in his defense, he didn't immediately take advantage of her. That's a crazy sentence, brother. You have to think this through. Maybe you're exaggerating this for comedic effect. I mean, you had the silly little animation going alongside it. But again, there's not really a context to tell us that this Alex Myers thing is a character here and that he's going to take a fall.
He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off.
He turned away while she was getting dressed is not a glowing endorsement, though. That is not speaking to the quality of his character. That's, again, the baseline. If he was ogling her immediately, you'd fucking deck the fucker. You wouldn't put, hey, I won't violate your boundaries in your dating profile, because that's not a flex. That really, really should go without saying. The fact that he's even done this wish in the first place, and he hasn't immediately hit the undo switch on it, is just very bad. That's just a very bad thing.
But like, up until this point, he's just some super socially awkward loser who has a crush on a girl, and he uses a $7 wishing toy that he assumes is not going to work. And then when Nikki starts acting like this, he's very confused and put off by it.
Yeah, but that's the beginning of a pipeline. If you're getting to a point where you're taking chances on silly little wish willows and stuff like that, you're already down the pipeline. You've already proven that you'd much rather do something that meddles with her autonomy and cheat the game than play fair. And the fairness is, like, on her, you know? Like, it has to be fair on both parties. He's effectively taken the power away from her to make that decision. And while he might not have thought it was going to work, he still resorted to that before he simply tried telling her feelings when she point blank asked him. That's the issue here. Also, just a quick aside, if he didn't think it was going to work, why would he spend $7 on a wish willow? Maybe I'm just too far on the spectrum to understand why people would do that kind of stupid shit, but like $7? Like, dude, that's the kind of shit you'd get out of a Christmas cracker. Do you have those? Right, so the correct call from here is to go home. Go home. Tell her this isn't the right time for this and go home. That would be the manly decision.
I don't know, Nikki.
Obviously, things get different later on, but at least up to this point, Bear has, like, no idea that the wishing willow worked. And again, to his credit, the very next day, he immediately tells Ian that he thinks something's wrong.
You just said a minute ago that she's acting out of character. Like, we can see that the wish willow worked.
So as you can see, Nikki's starting to act a little out of character. She's saying things that don't make sense. She also demands to go over to his house to spend the night.
She was changing in front of him and shit. Like, this isn't stuff she was doing before.
What? I don't know, dude. She was acting so weird. Like, she would, like, what? Is she okay? No.
Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that this part is showing how Bear's trying to make Nikki seem crazy to other people or whatever, but, like, again, he has no way of knowing that the toy works. Like, why would...
You just said a minute ago she was acting out of character immediately after he made the wish. Do you have no concept of object permanence, my brother?
Like, in any other circumstance, you'd probably do the same thing if your friends started acting like this out of nowhere, right?
Or you would just go back and undo the wish, or you would just tell them in the first place, or you wouldn't even try using a silly little wish willow, or whatever, man. Like, fucking Fairly Odd Parents made it clear that you're not supposed to wish for people to fall in love with you.
And she said that she was on some drugs or whatever, and so maybe that explains why she was acting so erratic, you know, like when she and Bear kissed earlier.
Right, okay, so this is a problem, right? You should have undone this wish before you got to that stage. That is dishonor. That is dishonor, Bear. Like, that's terrible. Dude, there's no coming back from that shit. Alright, what are you gonna say, Alex?
So at this point, Bear thinks that Nikki was acting weird, kissed him, freaked out, etc. because she was on drugs, right? So again, to him, in this moment, it all seems totally above board. But then...
If she's on drugs, then you still don't engage. Like, when you've got, like, I don't know, your office pal that's come home with you after the office party, and they want to do it, but they're clearly very drunk, the correct answer is, no, you're not in the headspace for that right now. Ask me later when you're sober. You know? And if they're dealing with things like drugs, and if it's an ongoing thing, and especially if she's just told you she's going through something with her dad dying and stuff, there are so many, like, barriers that he's defying here that Alex Myers has not acknowledged, leading me to believe that maybe he's skimmed through the movie, but I haven't seen the movie myself. Even I can see the problem with this with the footage that you've put in the video yourself. You've given me all the ammunition here.
I didn't know you were on drugs.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
Okay, see, this is my point. Like, given the circumstances, Bear's being pretty normal about this, okay? Given what he does and does not know by this point in the movie, like, he could have slept with her, or he could have taken some kind of advantage of her, but he was rather gentlemanly at the time.
Oh my god, brother. Brother, you've got this all weighted wrong. You're of the belief that these are like 10 out of 10 traits. These are the baselines. Except these aren't the fucking baselines. What you're describing would be the baseline, but what's actually happening here in the footage that's in your review from a film that I haven't seen is that this guy has made several violating decisions towards Nikki. He's already, attempted, even if he thought it wasn't going to work, attempted to consult the cosmic forces of the universe to get this girl to fall in love with him after his friend has been telling him how he can ask her out or express interest, after she has point blank asked him, and like, oh my goodness, at least he didn't goo goo gaga her. He shouldn't have done it in the first place and should have immediately reversed the wish. And now we just keep adding asterisks onto that. Oh, he thought she was on drugs. That's still bad. Oh, he thought she was just acting weird. That's still bad. Oh, she was just in an emotionally compromised position. That's still really, really bad. These are not headspaces where someone can really consent to someone new in that way, you know? Like, that doesn't hold water. It doesn't work.
And thus begins their relationship. They start dating, hanging out, kissing.
Okay, so that's a problem. Are we going to identify that that's a problem? Clearly something's gone very wrong here. The fact that she freaked out on him as well. The fact that there's clearly instances of the real her breaking through. Come on, man. You can see this, right? You can see this. The film is serving it to you on such a platter that I'm able to see it without even having seen the film based on the footage that you've included in your review. Goodness. This is abhorrent, brother. What are you doing?
And doing the devil's tango. And Bear's finally living the life he always wanted. Hot dog. Turns out Nikki was in love with him the whole time.
But based on what he does know and understand, is this the right time to start a relationship? I think the film has really covered its bases to ensure that you know immediately that Bear is kind of a shithead.
Also, how exactly would you find this out? Like, pretty sure you can't just call up a hospital and they tell you someone's medical history. Okay, so is Ian lying about this? Or was Nikki lying to Ian and Sarah about her dad this whole time?
In your pursuit of taking this entire movie literally, you are missing the point, brother.
I thought we were having a nice day.
Okay, see, Bear, I don't know why you're making this face. You wanted the Crystal Mommy Latina experience, and you got the Crystal Mommy Latina experience.
What am I doing? What am I doing, man? What are we doing? We're making a joke about a genre of person based on a prejudice. For a gag, no less, in a moment where she's having a clear breakdown because her mind was hijacked by this dude who's clearly taken advantage of her, but we seem to be in denial of that fact. I just... that wouldn't even make it to first draft, man. What are you doing, Alex Myers? What are you doing?
Now, okay, up to this point, I feel like Bear has plausible deniability. I mean, there's...
No, he doesn't. You can see that there's so much wrong with her behavior. Like, if you were dating a lady and she behaved like this, you'd see there's something wrong here, that she's unstable, and you wouldn't pursue this out of just compassion, right? This is like taking advantage of someone who's clearly going through psychosis. Maybe you're going through psychosis. You can get it from the craziest places. Sometimes you can smoke the Zaza and it doesn't get along with you and you can experience a bout of psychosis, and maybe it causes you to make videos like this one here. Maybe that's why Alex Myers did it. Maybe he himself had psychosis. Maybe someone used a wish willow to wish his career over, and then he'd make a video like this. Gee, Adam, it's not like this would have been an amazing video otherwise, you know, but just this is sad.
Now, right here, though, at the halfway point of the movie, he does finally start to realize that the wish actually worked. But, like, even then, like, literally every rom-com is about trying to find a way to get the other person to like you or you.
Yeah, through gestures, through things that will get them to like you. You're not getting her to like you. All you're doing is blocking off the part of her brain that gives her a choice. We can see the distinction between romantic gestures and little silly strategies and stuff like that, and this, right? You might as well inject her with something, and then you'd be saying, oh, well, at least he didn't go Goo Goo Gaga style on her earlier. Calm down, she wants a Pepsi, you know, like a Crystal Latina Mommy Pepsi experience. Like, this is, oof. Part of comedy is timing, and the timing just doesn't invite a lot of these jokes. Part of comedy is knowing what the right source material to do a gag about is, or knowing how to ride the line. Lord knows I ride the line over on the Sunset City podcast. Lord knows there have been times when I've kind of crossed the line in a few areas, and I've apologized for that. But, like, this is, again, this is not even first draft stuff, brother. This is not.
Manufacture a meet cute or whatever, right? Like, I've seen some internet.
There's a difference between a meet cute and hijacking their brain. Alex Myers, what is wrong with you, you silly guy?
He only saw her as an object and wanted to remove her autonomy. That's why he made that wish. But, like,
yes, that's what the movie's about. That's the theme of the movie, Alex Myers. That's the theme of the film. He denied her autonomy. But the thing is, there are several moments throughout this that suggest that her autonomy was compromised anyway. The Wish Willow is the tip of the iceberg. If she was just acting like this and you took the Wish Willow out of the equation, he would clearly be dating a very unstable person and taking advantage of that. You can see the issue here, right?
Like, he didn't wish that she would do whatever he wanted, or I wish that she would become obsessed with me and me only. He specifically wished that Nikki would love him more than anyone, which is
what's the distinction? What's the difference? Like, at least he didn't wish that she'd be obsessed with him. What? But, like, he still wished for something that directly impacts her brain and thought process. He still wished for something that would inhibit her judgment.
literally what everyone who has ever had a crush wants. Like, every single fanfic about, like, golly gee, I sure wish One Direction would kidnap me and fall in love with me all at the same time. Like, as if half the girls who saw this movie haven't wished the exact same thing before.
That is a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope. Yes, there are people who have fantasies of things that they would never actually want to happen to them. But those are their personal things. We don't action that. We don't justify, we don't use it as a justification for actions that action that and take advantage of that.
Hello, it is I, Willem Dafoe, from the movie The Lighthouse, and I've secretly been in love with you for years.
But in real life, that doesn't happen. That might be someone's fantasy. Okay, you can have a crush on Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse, but if he crawls through your window and was like, "Yar, we're going to fuck right now for 4 weeks," like, suddenly, it's real. There's a difference between real and fantasy, Alex Myers. And it's important that you make that distinction. Okay. Well, I'll be. I feel attacked.
And he was like, oh, so Nikki's just some slut that bangs every guy except me, huh? Well, I'll show you. Then yeah, he'd be like some misogynistic incel. But
No. You're operating on the logic of, at least he didn't do something that is different and bad. You know? Oh, what he did is bad, but at least it wasn't as bad as this other thing, which is debatably less bad. I'd much rather be judged than than hijacked, I guess.
I'm not saying Bear is a blameless, innocent victim, okay? But I think some of you are a little too quick to attach motivation and subtext to this character that is not based on the movie.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk down to you because of the genre of video you make, Alex Myers, but you don't even know what subtext is based on your video track record. You have no business to be telling anyone else that they're missing subtext when, ironically, your video here has not even acknowledged any subtext. What do you think this movie's about, if not what everyone said it's about? I don't think Bear was doing what he was doing with the intent of manipulating her, with the intent of inhibiting her thought process. But it doesn't change the fact that that's what the actions were, but it also doesn't change the fact that he had ample opportunity to tell her how he felt rather than doing this.
It really seems like some of you want him to be a horrible, incel, intentionally malicious guy, regardless.
Because sometimes it can be the priority. Sometimes it can be just what people are willing to sacrifice in the pursuit of their own happiness. It'd be like saying, oh, you gotta run over a cat to get this girl to like you. Oh, well, at least he ran over a cat. He didn't actually think it would work. It's like, no, but he still did a bad thing in running over a cat. I don't know, maybe that's not the best analogy in the world, but, like, you know, this is still really bad. This is still really, really bad. You have to accept every time he didn't tell her how he felt as a moral failure when it ultimately landed on him choosing to use a wish willow.
But remember, this sub attracts the most obsessed fans of the movie. They flex about watching it at the theater like 10 times already. They make several posts a day about it. They make crazy over-analysis and...
Okay, so the point we're making now is that you're silly for discussing it to this extent, right? God forbid someone engage with movies, Alex Myers. God forbid.
So a lot of it comes from an emotional standpoint, hence the refusal to engage with the material in good faith and just making it say what they want the movie to say.
Yeah, but at least they're engaging with the material, Alex Myers. You're not engaging with the material, you're just looking for openings for jokes. That's... Sheesh.
See also Encanto. But anyway.
This is what I was saying about the versatility factor. He hasn't earned the versatility to talk about a movie like this, and he hasn't earned it within this video either because he's still bringing up Disney movies in this conversation about a film that's about a serious subject matter, for fuck's sake, Alex.
Once Bear realizes that this happened because of the wish, he finds a phone number on the back of the box and he calls it to try and get his wish changed.
So why did he not do this immediately after? Why did he not do this as soon as she started acting funny? Or at least not act on it? Alright, so how's Bear the good guy this time?
Now, just to be clear, I'm not defending all of Bear's actions, okay?
Wow, what a crazy...
Because at this point in the movie, he knows the wish worked, and he knows the real Nikki's soul is, like, trapped or whatever, but he keeps on dating her and tries to, like, continue on as if this isn't the most horrible situation anyone could imagine. Although, to be fair, what is he supposed to do?
Okay, so Lex Luthor shot Molly in Superman 2025, but what's Lex Luthor supposed to do now? Is he supposed to just become a good guy? Is he supposed to become Superman himself? See, all you people are just attaching all this subtext to Lex Luthor, when in actuality, he was just acting out of fear. The least he could do is distance himself. The least he could do is try and help her and not indulge it.
Now, this is another part I've seen so many posts about that I find so baffling. Like, I've literally seen people say, like, if Bear truly loved Nikki, he would have killed her when she asked. Cause, like, it's just that easy, you know? And then what? He goes to prison for life? Obviously, he doesn't want to do that.
Yes, because a prison term is so much worse than having a demon in your head that you're now having to play co-pilot to, all because someone couldn't confess their feelings. This makes him a villain. Why do you need to defend this? Why do you feel compelled to defend this?
Also, it's well established in this movie that he's like a low self-esteem, probably depressed loser guy.
So he's in a situation where he's basically fucked everything up, and it's his responsibility, and the only way to get out of it is to make an unthinkable sacrifice. That's part of the moral quandary of the movie. If you're souping that up into a big defense for him, you're missing the point. But another problem here is that Alex Myers' video only humors Bear's perspective. There is zero acknowledgement of what Nikki's actually going through here. Zero acknowledgement of what her life would be like. You've acknowledged that she wants to die, and your first thought is, how can we defend Bear in all this? This is why people are taking from this video that you're probably not a safe person to be around. There is absolute zero display of empathy towards the victim here, but there's all the empathy in the world towards the perpetrator. And you can also see in his animations throughout the video how he depicts Nikki. Yes, everyone's a little goofy in these videos, but there's very little actual showcasing of the possession or supernatural elements, just animations of a girl freaking out. Meanwhile, Bear is portrayed as Alex Myers' mascot. This is what makes people think you're an unsafe person to be around. Even if that is not the approach you were taking, you cannot afford to blow this kind of thing.
Again, I'm not saying Nikki's the bad guy or Bear is some, like, blameless victim or whatever. I'm just saying there's many ways you could look at this movie. Like, maybe the wish didn't work at all. Maybe Bear's just that cool. You ever thought of that?
What?
Yeah, so whatever your personal interpretation of the movie is, it really is a fantastic film. It's a great horror, great writing.
I don't think you can really say that. You haven't really shown any evidence that you've understood it.
The acting is incredible. Nikki, obviously, fantastic job. But like with a lot of other movies and shows, especially recently, the online discourse is just insane.
Okay, but when you're calling everything insane that even slightly surprises you, maybe you're the problem.
Like, what is it about this movie in particular that people made it their entire personalities?
Again, God forbid people engage with media.
This movie about the dangers of unchecked obsession has gone on to spawn one of the most insanely obsessed fan bases I've ever seen.
Because it relates to a real-world issue, then it probably made some people feel seen. Like, do you know the statistics of, like, women or just people in general who've been denied their autonomy in a sexual situation, to put it lightly? Like, That speaks to people. And just because Bear had gotten himself into an impossible situation, it doesn't change the fact that the quality of his character was absolutely abysmal, because he would rather take chances on wishing willows than just say how he feels when he's been point blank asked. Basically, what you're seeing in the first act is the issue. The inciting incident and everything else is the consequence of that. There is no, oh, he's just a chill dude in an impossible situation. He's a guy in a situation he made for himself because of his own poor impulse.
This is a bad dude. Yes, absolutely. Nikki is...
But it's also a bad dude because it showed from the first place, from the jump, that he would rather wish for her to be someone she's not than actually just tell her how he feels and accept that. An unwillingness to accept no for an answer. So he basically made it so that all the odds were stacked in his favor. He cheated. And when you cheat someone out of their decision, that's an issue.
Her life is forever ruined because of some depressed, selfish loser guy, okay? Yes, like that's the outcome of the movie. But how we get to that point, I think, is a lot more nuanced than a lot of you were giving the movie credit for.
It's nuanced-ish, okay? I think what's happened here is that Alex Myers has a case of misplaced empathy in this instance. There's probably been many instances where Alex Myers has not asked someone out because of the fear that she could say no, okay? I think a lot of people have had that happen, alright? And you'd like the idea of just something happening that could guarantee that they'll say yes because no's can kind of hurt. Some people have rejection sensitivity disorder, and it can make rejection feel much more painful than it is for other people. So some people like to do what they can to stack the odds in their favor. But it becomes a different thing when you're wishing for that person to love you, when you're trying to do something that's going to take their choice away. The movie is about how a lot of guys' failure to communicate how they feel and their timidness is making them into the monsters that they fear being if they just ask. It's that. That's the issue here. But there's no acknowledgement of any of that. I think what's happened is that Alex Myers probably watched this movie scrolling through his phone because he clearly hasn't engaged with it much and has projected his own self onto it and just really made himself look like a schmuck here. This was a really bad video. That is also just the good faith take. But then I don't understand because the footage in this review showed me that. You could have surely watched the review back as you were editing it and seen the issues. I'm not going to say for sure whether or not Alex Myers is exactly the kind of person that Bear is riffing on. And I'm not going to try and say anything too inflammatory here. I think it's important to have these conversations, ask these questions. Were you not paying attention? Did you not understand? But this is the problem. When you're not engaging the media, and this is the problem with Alex Myers' content overall, when you're not engaging the media, you're going to say things that are incorrect about it. And you can't afford to do that with a movie like Obsession. You also run the risk of hurting a lot of people because, as I mentioned, a lot of people probably felt seen when they saw the movie Obsession. There's a lot of people this probably spoke to who have been on the receiving end of being denied their choice. And it's not good to risk harming those people any further with videos like this, which is why I think it is very important that people just think twice about what they're using as the launch pad for their stand-up comedy videos, and it's important that people engage the subject matter on every level before making videos about it, unless you want to focus on just this one particular aspect. But maybe think twice about making a defense video for Bear. We didn't really talk about the theme of the movie. We didn't really talk about the message of the movie, but we made a lot of jokes about crystal girls. We made a lot of jokes about septum piercings. And we have just, Alex Myers saying, well, at least he didn't fuck her earlier and stuff. But he does all of that. And he would have done it regardless of the Wish Willow, even though she's clearly really in a tough place. The film has given us more than enough variables stacked against Bear for us to not take his side. We've got assumptions about types of women in this video, and then we've got a seeming complete misunderstanding of Bear's character, and it just doesn't bode well in an optics sense, and it is no wonder people think that you're a problematic fella. So you need to maybe get these thoughts in check. Realize that communication is ultimately the only option before commenting on this kind of subject matter. But honestly, you also have to earn that versatility and demonstrate that you can do a video like this before doing it, really. Or, if you're going to surprise people, you gotta think it through. In not thinking this through properly, you've undermined a very serious subject matter that has hurt a lot of real people and real statistics. Which is just, well, that's why you're in the position you're in now. Yeah.